The Datsun 160J has earned the reputation of being the car you can depend on most when the going gets really rough. Last year, it thrust Datsun to second place in the World Rally Championship for makes. It's a proven rally master, but this year it's different. It's a new Datsun 160J GT with a DOHC engine. Consequently, it's with a mixture of confidence and apprehension that Datsun has come to the 1981 Safari Rally. While the new engine provides a higher horsepower than the former model, there could be unforeseeable problems ahead. This is only the second time the Datsun 160J GT is taking part in a rally, having made its debut just over a month ago in Portugal. Then there's the question of stakes. Datsun is after a historic double hat trick, having won a triple crown in both 1979 and 1980. Will Datsun succeed? Nairobi, April 16th, Thursday. The 1981 Safari is about to start. First off, in an Opel Ascona 400 at the command of Klein, the 1979 European Rally champion. Solonen is next in a Datsun Sylvia, the first of the 5 Datsun Works entries. A Peugeot is car number 3. There are 4 Peugeot Works entries. The second Opel Works entry follows. Altonen is driving car number 5, a Datsun 160J GT. Meta, the 1979 and 1980 winner, is also in a Datsun 160J GT. The Safari, dubbed the world's toughest rally, is on. This year, there are 11 participating countries, a record, and 71 starters. This is the 29th Safari in an unbroken line that, interestingly enough, was initiated in 1953 to celebrate the coronation of Queen Elizabeth of England that year. It became a WRC event for the first time in 1970. It's predicted that this year it's going to be the wettest ever. It's been raining for weeks, and no sooner has the rally started than the officials have to reroute it. The torrential rains have made the original route impassable. But even on the substitute route, you still have to exercise the utmost caution. In that sea of muddy water lie rocks that could easily break your suspension, or potholes in which you could just as easily get stuck. The Safari has always been a tough and merciless rally. Twice in 1963 and 1968, only 7 reached the finish line. By Kapsabet, the 9th of the rally's 84 time control points, the heavy rain is really pouring down. It's close to midnight, about 12 hours since the rally began. Already, Munari, that legendary 4-time winner of the Monte Carlo, is out. His Dodge Ram Charger had to call it a day because of gearbox trouble. From here to Eldoret, Kulang and car number 4 will hold the lead, followed by Frecklin in a Peugeot, Altonen in 3rd, Solonen 4th jointly with Makinen in another Peugeot, and Meta quickly recovering from 12th, to which he fell after 2 tire punctures, in 6th. The 1981 Safari is divided into 3 legs, altogether covering a long distance of some 5,000 grueling kilometers. Arriving at Eldoret, one of the places where drivers may rest for a couple of hours, Kulang keeps the lead. Solonen still ranks 4th, while Altonen shares the 2nd place with Makinen. Meta continues his climb back to the top and is now 5th jointly with Frecklin. Kirkland, the 1979 and 1980 Kenyan Rally champion, has his Datsun 160J in 7th. From Eldoret, it's a drive back to Nairobi to complete the first leg. There's a lull in the rain, but no relief to the damage already on the roads. It's reported a slipping clutch thrust bearing is causing a curious singing sound in the Peugeot cars. Gearbox problems continue to plague the Dodge Ram Charger, the four-wheel drive juggernauts with a 7,800cc engine, the largest, most powerful vehicles ever in the Safari. As usual, the Datsun service crew is ever on the alert and ready for action. Later in the day, as a tactical and precautionary measure, they'll change Solomon's and Kirkland's rear axles in record time, only 12 and 11.5 minutes respectively. It's with that kind of brisk servicing that Datsun performed a hat trick in 1979 and 1980, winning on 3 counts in both years. First overall, first in its class, and first as a team. If it succeeds in repeating that performance this year, it will be a double hat trick, 3 victories per year for 3 consecutive years. But the question still remains, will it succeed? As the cars continue to streak towards Nairobi, it's still too early to tell. Both Opel and Peugeot are putting up great competition. Their drivers are all top class. Frecklin was second and Kleint third in Monte Carlo this year. Makinen is a 3-time winner of the RAC, and Coulon is certainly a force to reckon with. Having traveled more than 1,500 kilometers on that first leg, the 44 survivors get ready to take off once more from Nairobi shortly before midnight, April 17th. This time, they're bound for Mombasa on the coast. The rain is back, and because of flooding from a swollen river, the initial portion is again rerouted. Coulon is off first. Solonen follows. Meta, now third, is next. Altonen, fourth. Makinen, fifth. Kirkland, sixth. Of April 18th, Saturday, sees the cars hit some dry ground off the main Mombasa road. At this point, Makinen is out. The singing clutch of his Peugeot couldn't last any longer. By the time the cars get to the Taita Hills, drive on treacherous cotton soil, Solonen has grabbed the lead on the road from Coulon. The dry weather is holding, but now there's dust to contend with. The rally continues to take its toll of the contenders. Frecklin is no longer in the rally for the same reason that Makinen had to bow out. Kleint, on the other hand, is charging his way back to the front, while Aaltonen is now running in third. Approaches noon, the contenders are back on the main Mombasa road. After Kinango, the 37th time control point, Kleint had a close encounter with disaster. The Opel mechanics changed his gearbox, neglecting to tighten the prop shaft bolts. And after a short distance, the bolts fell off, causing the car to nearly catapult off the road. On the final approach to Mombasa, Salonen too has a close call. A non-competing Range Rover collides with him, forcing him off the road and causing him to drop from second to 4th overall. Mombasa. Still leads overall. Aaltonen is second, together with Mehta. Salonen is fourth.
Mehta has competed in so many overseas international rallies, such as Kuwait Rally, Bahrain, RSC, Southern Cross Rally, and Monte Carlo.
Iwashita, a Japanese private entrant driving a Datsun Sylvia, is 7th. And together with another Datsun private entry in 8th, that makes 6 Datsuns in the top 10. It looks like Datsun is going to romp home with the manufacturer's team prize. Rest in Mombasa, the race is on once more. It's a run back to Nairobi, but before getting on the main Mombasa road, the cars have to go through a special route north of Mombasa. Along the way, Kulang hits an errant cow, suffering serious damage to his car's front end. Later, he gets into even worse trouble. He leaves the road and ends up in a ditch. But he's not the only casualty. By the end of the more than 1,700-kilometer second leg, only 28 are left in the rally. Starting promptly at 10:30 in the morning of April 19, Easter Sunday, the final leg sees Mehta in the lead. But tucking hard at his tail is Aaltonen. And not far behind is Salonen, with Kirkland rapidly closing in on him. It looks like the rally has become a battle of the Datsuns. But the others are keeping up the fight, and who knows what may happen yet. Sunshine greeted the begrimed survivors at the start of the third leg, but in the afternoon there are ominous signs of a gathering storm. Is there going to be more rain? Aren't those roads bad enough? But despite it all, despite those hellish craters on the road, despite the weariness that's getting into the drivers, one and all, Aaltonen keeps on in his chase of Meta. The two Datsun 160J GTs are really fighting it out. At one point, there's a mere 4-minute difference between them. Before blasting off on the third leg whether they'd be driving according to team orders or man-to-man, the leading Datsun drivers added mystery to how this rally is going to end by answering with inscrutable smiles. Meanwhile, the grim struggle goes on. And for Dodge, the first American team ever in the Safari, it's bad news. Yet another of their Ram Chargers has retired, leaving 2 out of the original 4 still in the running. In the dark, on the final night, threatening reports filter through saying a raging, swollen river, rapidly rising about an inch a minute, lies ahead. Will the contenders get there in time before the floodwaters make passage absolutely impossible? As day breaks, April 20th, the last day of the 1981 Safari Rally, it's confirmed that there was a swollen river. The leading cars managed to cross, but the rest had to be rescued by four-wheelers. A Peugeot Works entry got stranded for 100 agonizing minutes. The raging river swept the road book and time card away. Coulon managed to cross, but after that, with a terminal fault in his Opel Ascona 400, he had no choice but to retire. And as the rally draws to its end, it's a neck-and-neck race between Meta and Aaltonen in their Datsun 160J GTs. Meta is leading overall, but Aaltonen is in very hot pursuit. There's only a minimal margin of a few precious minutes separating them. Narrow, rutted roads, both unwilling to yield and lose time, they hurtle on and on to Nairobi, the goal. The goal at last. The cars are back right where they started the 1981 Safari Rally from 5 days and 4 nights ago. Out of the 71 starters, only 22 have returned. But for Datsun, it's a tremendous victory. Mehta is first, making him the first ever 4-time winner of the Safari. This year's victory is the 3rd in a row, so it's an especially sweet personal triumph, a new record, and a hat trick all rolled into one. Altonen is a very close second. Kirkland is 3rd. Salonen 4th. And aside from that clean sweep in overall standing, Datsun also ran off with class and team prizes, driving right into the Safari's history books as the first team ever, perhaps the only one for all time, to perform a double hat trick.